Now, when you look at your golf swing here, what do you see from your perspective? You've had a lot of golf lessons over the years.
I see the club being taken back with the arms, not a whole lot of body rotation. It's in probably about there my body's stopped and it's just arms. And then very steep with the hands, big flip through after impact, basically trying to save it. All arms and hands basically is what I'm seeing.
Here of getting the hands relatively in front of the chest, and you do a pretty good job there. But then what we'll notice is that it doesn't really continue to move from that position. What happens is the arms will tend to lift rather than a lot more rotation. And then as a result, those arms get further and further and further behind. Your golf club is coming down in such an orientation that it is too steep for too long and then throwing it away at the bottom. Now, if you didn't have such face manipulation, essentially the ball would go way to the right.
Right.
So that face closing and hooding a lot, as we see, is simply an effect to that, okay? So what needs to happen here is we just need to sync up the backswing a little bit better and ensure that we're not getting so narrow in the downswing with this sort of dragging motion. This image here is going to be the main reference that we're going to use to then compare after we've done this of the before and after. Now what we'll do is we'll just have a look at a professional model of this. He's got a little bit more upper body rotation by this section here, so his back is turned more towards the target, and as a result of doing so, all things being equal, the hands move further behind you. So if you set up to that golf ball, if you make your backswing but don't turn your back, so keep making a backswing, your hands are going to be out, and you'll notice how this hand started to come off and this started to get very, very narrow. So therefore, as you swing down, that's an exaggeration of what you're doing. The opposite to that would be in your setup. So for example, as you just made an exaggerated turn, keep turning, keep turning, allow everything to move back here, right? That would be the most amount of depth and result in the shallowest delivery. So that would tend to be the opposite. Right. So as we then move from this section of the backswing, you'll see that very minimal body rotation from that lead arm parallel, and then almost what you'd call like a snatchy transition, with the shaft getting quite steep. Versus the professional over here on the right hand side, you'll see that everything continues to turn and then comes down in more of a sequenced manner, therefore staying in that same manner throughout the golf swing. So really for you, it's kind of from that lead arm in the backswing position, how do we then sequence that up so you don't have to drag it back in front? There's quite a few drills that we can do to promote that. The issue comes from that by the time that we get back to this lead arm parallel position, this chest hasn't rotated enough, which puts your hands out, causes them to lift. As a result of doing so, the distance between the club shaft and that trail shoulder gets narrower, causing this steep delivery, the golf club to be out of sequence, and then that big throw through the ball. That causes issues with path and face, and essentially you could hit it all over the shop, right? It's going to get worse and worse the longer the club that you use. As soon as you've got driver, due to the length of the club and it gets steep, now your body's fully extending and trying to get out of it, right? Now, what we need to do is we need to tidy up lead arm parallel in the backswing, give you a reference of where it should be, and then we're going to do some freezer drills. So essentially you're going to get to that position and then you're going to swing through, but you're going to feel like your right arm, and we'll give you a specific sensation for this, is staying, let's call it structured but wide. Now, there would be a misinterpretation by a lot of golfers when they do this that it might feel like they're casting it. But lag is actually the angle established from the shaft and the back of the forearm. It's got nothing to do with the bend of the right arm. As a simplification in the golf swing, every professional would start with their arms long in front of their body, and every professional at the moment of impact would get them long in front of the body. So the more that I'm pulling them around, the more work I have to do and create compensations for to get them back in front. Essentially within reason, you want to keep your hands in front of your chest through this section of the golf swing. The more they get back and behind you like this, the harder it is for that to happen. So, very first drill that we're going to do, we're going to get you in here from your setup position, pumping your arms so they're nice and relaxed, so we're not doing this in a stiff manner. you are going to swing back to what feels like chest facing where the camera is and pump your arms so they're really soft, okay? You're going to hold the golf club securely, very similar like a tennis racket. It wouldn't be loose in your hands. Pumping the arms so they're nice and soft. And then from there, all you're going to do is you're going to be aware of this angle or how that feels in that address position. And you're simply just going to swing a little half swing through down towards the target for me. Okay, so from address position, pump your elbows towards you, great. Swing halfway back so it feels like your chest is facing the camera. Perfect. Now, this is very, very important. Now, if you try and pump your arms towards your body, see how it's going to hit your right pec?
Yep.
Right? So relax this, soft. Turn your chest back more. Great, relax everything, perfect. Now swing through. Perfect. All the effects of through the golf ball, like the track of the club, and the things that most players try and fix, like stop face rotation, that'll get taken care of because the club doesn't have to do that. It's simple cause and effect, right?
It actually feels like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like it feels more noticeable that I'm doing that at the base of the swing, at the impact swing and coming through. So it's almost like I have to relearn to not do that because there's no need.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just simplifying and removing the variables of having to get those arms running back in front. So let's do it again. So set up to the ground for me. The key here is pump your elbows. Now, I want you to exhale and turn your chest to the sky. See how much tension you've got in those arms? There should be no tension, right? They should be soft. Because if you relate it to something like tennis, right? You're holding a racket, secure hold, soft arm, which is controlled, right? If you were to tense and lock out, you would have no mobility or flexibility to create whip.
Yeah.
If you pretend the golf ball was up in front of you like T-ball, right? Yeah. Hold the golf club like a baseball bat, right? If you were looking at someone throwing a ball towards you, before you'd be doing that. Now, is your lead arm stiff or is it soft?
That's soft, yeah.
Right, and then as someone was about to pitch, you would then be winding back, but you'd be winding back with your torso and your body, which then creates the whip, right? So the same sort of sensation here when we're getting to the top of the backswing. So set up again, pump your arms a couple of times. Good, swing to the top and stop, exhale, through here. So you see how that was always getting tight. Your lead arm in the golf swing stays straight as a result of turning the body, not because you're locking it out and trying to keep it straight. Right. So set up again for me. So pump the arms, exhale, turn your chest up to the sky. Perfect. Pump the arms a little bit. Great, and swing through. Wonderful. And this is where tension for a lot of players is such a killer, is that if you are setting up to it and you're tight, you're going to feel like you've got no mobility. And that's often a common sort of comment from players. It's like, oh, maybe I don't have the flexibility to turn. Well, no, because if I was to remove the arms element, and we'll get you to do this in a second, you place this golf club across your chest and you simply just turn that behind, you will find that your body has a lot of rotation. You've got to allow those hips to turn, allow that body to turn. If you are tight, you're not going to have any mobility at all, okay? So come and set up, club across your shoulders for me. Allow everything to feel tall and up. Great. From here, hold the golf club out here. Good. And through. Perfect. Keeping those arms soft throughout is very, very important. So the around motion that you see with the golf swing, with the hands getting behind you, a lot of players assume that it's from the arms pulling around you, but it's actually the arms staying in front and just turning. The fixation on looking at the ball keeps your body down, keeps your body tight, stops it from turning. And we find that a lot of good players have years and years of anxiety built up of like, okay, at least I need to make contact, I can kind of get it done. If I just focus on the ball a little bit, that's going to help. But we find that the freer that you are, the more relaxed you are, the more your body can rotate, the more you're going to be in sequence. Restart, stop at the top, and then you're going to swing through very slowly. So swing to the top, pump your arms, right, and swing through. Great. So you'll find that you've got just a bucket load of room. You've educated your hands for a long time to compensate for this steep shaft, so you're going to have a bit of a draw there, but the sequence will be way more in check. That there is simply just a result of you freeing your body up, allowing that to turn. See, once again, by that stage of the backswing, you've got a nice amount of depth here versus that. See how tight that lead arm looks, crossed. Straight away, that shaft has already started to move up. And then, as a result of doing that, and then get to a position where the club's going to get steep and choppy, no room, versus what we're going to have over here on the right, more structured, and then you just swing down. Because the club's set in a better position at the top there, right? Because it's set better here, it's just going to come down more in front. That just gives you a lot more room to swing through with freedom, rather than this feeling that you've got to stay down and throw the hands. If you don't warm up properly, and you don't allow your body to max out its rotation relative to your individual mobility, not from trying to force anything, but through being relaxed and letting it get back there, it's like that is all this free power and consistency you're missing out on at the moment. So on this one, what I want you to do is, the priority is to not hit the ball. The priority is to swing as tall and as up as you possibly can with the chest. You need this extension and rising of the body to allow you to place force down into the ground, to give you that explosive power that you see with players like Rory, right? They get taller, they sink, and then they explode. If I'm staying stiff like this, I can't turn, I haven't created any extension, I'm going to be out of sequence. From the dress, pump your arms nice and soft, keep them in front, keep them in front. Breathe, relax, turn all the way to the top. So much better. Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.